Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Blame It on the Stars, where we give you an inside look on what's going on in the universe so you can blame your problems on the stars. It is Jade here.
And it's Kara.
And this week, Venus enters Taurus and Mercury enters Aries. But in case you missed it, last week, Saturn entered Pisces, and there was also a full moon in Virgo. But since Saturn's going to be in Pisces for the next 3 years, if you missed that episode, definitely go ahead and check it out before or after you listen to this episode, or really at any given time.
And just to give you a heads up, next week we will tell you everything you need to know about Aries season, including big societal changes that will come with Pluto entering Aquarius and Mars in Cancer, which will happen next week. Also, as you're listening to this episode today, if you think of any astrology questions, feel free to send them to us on Spotify, and we will answer them in next week's episode.
And if you are not a subscriber, then after a short ad break, we'll get right into it. So the first thing that happens this week is Venus entering its home sign of Taurus. This happens on March 16th at 6:34 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What you need to know. This is a really good energy for basically just treating yourself. If you've been looking for some self-care spa days, or if you've been looking for an excuse to go on a little shopping spree, then Venus in Taurus is your sign from the universe that it's time to start doing that.
So how this affects you is during this time, you're going to be more focused on enjoying the finer things in life and taking things slowly. Venus represents our relationships, how we spend money, and also how we take care of ourselves. So you might find that you're more interested in things that feel a little bit more luxurious or comfortable. When we talk about Taurus and the senses, that could mean anything from wanting to be cozy with a soft blanket to drinking comforting teas and really enjoying just the sensation of having a warm cup in your hand. Also, when it comes to your relationships, whether that is your friendships or workers or even family, you might start to place more value on consistency and reliability.
So why this matters? I'm sure you've heard the stereotype that Taurus energy can be a bit stubborn, but I strongly disagree. I think Taurus energy is really good at holding boundaries. And as we just mentioned, this is a great time for enjoying self-care and not wanting to rush and taking your time. So you might find that you are turning down certain things in order to stay at home and relax, and your boundaries get a little bit stronger during this time. Overall, it's a really good energy. As I kind of mentioned earlier, something you might not know is that Venus is at home, aka domicile, in Taurus and also Libra. So Venus is able to express itself in a way that it feels comfortable.
Venus will be in Taurus from March 16th until Venus enters Gemini on April 11th at 12:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you have from March 16th until April 11th to enjoy the Venus in Taurus energy.
Now, certain signs will be affected more than others. And again, when we mention these placements, it always refers to Sun, Moon, Rising, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. So the first being Taurus, depending on what planet you have in Taurus. With Venus going over that planet, you might find that you are a little bit more social than usual, or maybe even a little bit more creative. Now with Scorpio, on the other hand, depending on what planet you have in Scorpio, Venus will be opposite that placement. So you might find that in terms of how you relate to others, how you're spending your money, and how you're being creative, there might be a need to balance out that energy. If you find that one day you're really, really social and the next day you're not at all, that's something to be expected.
And then if you have Leo or Aquarius placements, then Venus will be square those placements. Squares do bring about some tension, so you can expect some challenges when it comes to your relationships and also self-worth. This is a good time, though, to focus on self-care and doing things that you enjoy.
And there are two rising signs that are most likely to find love during this transit. The first one being Scorpio risings, because Venus will be in your 7th house of relationships, and Capricorn risings, because Venus will be in your 5th house of romance. And again, that is rising sign only. Now, there are some key dates you'll want to pay attention to while Venus is in Taurus. The first one being March 17th with Venus sextile Saturn. This is a really good opportunity for you to hold up those strong boundaries, as I had mentioned, and really take your time. That's kind of an overall theme with Venus in Taurus, is taking your time to make sure things are done correctly and that things feel comfortable. And Saturn being a planet that adds longevity to everything, that's definitely going to be true around March 17th.
And then on March 21st, Venus will be conjunct the North Node. In your personal life, you might find that you are a little bit more inspired and creative as you're working towards your goals and having some realizations or finding meaning in the things that you are doing. On a more societal level, we might see things happening with celebrities related to creative activities like the film industry or music. Sometimes those types of things can come up, whether that's in the news or on social media.
And then on March 30th, Venus will be conjunct Uranus. I know we keep talking about creativity, but Uranus being the planet of the unexpected and Venus being about creativity, you might find a lot of inspiration on this day. But in terms of your social life, you might find that plans happen very unexpectedly. So if you're looking for a day to not plan and kind of just go with the flow, that's probably going to be March 30th.
And then on April 7th, Venus will be sextile Neptune. This is a very positive aspect. It's really a good time to be empathetic and spend time with other people and have very honest conversations. You also might, again, be drawn to more creative activities on that day.
And that's pretty much it for Venus and Taurus. The next thing that happens is Mercury entering the sign of Aries. This happens on March 19th at 12:24 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're on the West Coast, it might be the 18th. Per usual, the date and time are from the website astroseek.com. What you need to know: if Mercury is how we communicate and Aries is a very quick moving energy, then you can imagine that this is a period of time where you are thinking very quickly. But being that Aries is also the first sign of the zodiac and a cardinal sign, this is a great opportunity for you to take more initiative in your life.
How this affects you is during this time, your communication is going to be more bold and passionate. Something that's not always talked about with Aries energy, but is really important, is that it tends to advocate for others. So you might find that you're speaking up, whether that's for yourself or for others. Again, Aries is a cardinal sign, so new ideas and new thoughts and ways of doing things can come up during this time as well.
Now, why this matters is since Aries is a very spontaneous energy, you might find that in terms of your communication, you're speaking more spontaneously or finding that you have to speak up unexpectedly in certain situations. So while this is a time where you are thinking very quickly, it could also serve as a good reminder to make sure that you think before you speak. Something you might not know is that this is the last normal Mercury transit, because the next time Mercury changes a sign, it will retrograde in that sign. But more on that at another time.
So Mercury will be in Aries until it enters Taurus on April 3rd at 12:22 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you have from March 19th until April 3rd to enjoy the Mercury and Aries energy.
And per usual, certain signs will be affected more than others. Again, personal planets, sun, moon, rising, Venus, Mercury, Mars. So the first one being Aries. Depending on what planet you have in Aries, you might find that you are just being much more expressive and communicative. If you are a Libra, on the other hand, though, you might find that communication kind of fluctuates, as Mercury will be opposite whatever planet you have in Libra. You might find that one minute you're saying a lot, but then the next not speaking up at all, and it can be a good opportunity to find balance.
And if you have Cancer or Capricorn placements, then Mercury will be square those placements. Squares do bring about some tension, so you might find that you have some challenges when it comes to your thinking and communication. you might have to put a little extra effort into communicating clearly with other people, and you might experience some misunderstandings during this time.
Now, there's only one key date you'll want to pay attention to, which is March 28th. Mercury will be conjunct Jupiter, so that is truly a day for big ideas and just really being social. And that's pretty much it for Venus and Taurus and Mercury and Aries. We're not taking any questions this week, but if you do happen to have any questions about anything we just mentioned or anything from last week with Saturn and Pisces, or maybe questions about the upcoming Aries season, then this is definitely a reminder that you can submit to us questions on Spotify and we'll be able to answer them in our future episodes. But if there's something you have a question about that is better suited for a personal reading, then this is your reminder that we do offer those. We have readings for as short as 15 minutes to as long as 1 hour. You decide what you want to talk about and who you want to talk about it with. And on the call, we'll be able to answer any astrology questions you might have face to face.
And if you've never booked a reading with us before, you can use the code STARS, all caps, STARS, for $20 off your first reading.
And next week, we'll be talking all about Aries season. You're definitely going to want to show up early for that one. Listen on Monday, the day that it comes out. Bring a notebook, pen, and paper because the transits that happen in Aries season are a lot. There's a lot of big shifts that happen, and I think you'll want to pay attention to that one. But if you want to stay in the loop with us and everything that is to come, then make sure you're following us on social media. We are on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at BLME The Stars. That is all for now, and we'll see you all next Monday. Bye.